They appeared without warning on a quiet Tuesday morning. Massive ships, each larger than Manhattan, materializing above Earth's major cities. Their hulls gleamed with an impossible silver-white sheen, making our most advanced aircraft look like children's toys in comparison. Humanity's first contact with an alien civilization didn't come with a greeting or an attack, but with pity. Their message, broadcast simultaneously in every human language, echoed through every electronic device on Earth. Greetings, primitive species. We have observed your development and have decided to show mercy. In exactly 100 of your Earth years, we will return to claim this solar system. Consider this adequate time to say your goodbyes and make peace with your existence. The global markets crashed within hours. The Dow Jones dropped 12,000 points in the first day. Riots broke out in major cities. Religious leaders proclaimed both doom and salvation. Military forces worldwide scrambled their jets and readied their missiles, a futile gesture against vessels that could cross interstellar space. Our most powerful weapons, nuclear missiles, railguns, experimental energy weapons, they might as well have been slingshots against these beings who had mastered the stars. But in their arrogance, in their pity, they made a crucial mistake. They had given humanity something far more dangerous than any weapon. They had given us time and a reason to unite, a deadline. They thought they were being merciful. They thought they were giving us time to accept our fate. Instead, they gave us exactly what we needed, a common enemy, a clear goal, and most importantly, a challenge. And if there's one thing these advanced beings didn't understand about humans, it's what we can do when someone tells us we can't do something. The first month after the warning was chaos incarnate. Every major military power launched their own desperate attempts to understand or combat these vessels. Chinese hypersonic missiles passed harmlessly through their shields. American laser platforms couldn't even scratch their hulls. Russian nuclear deterrents seemed like firecrackers against their vastness. Each failure only highlighted our helplessness. Each attempted show of force became another reminder of how far behind we truly were. Political systems crumbled under the weight of this new reality. The United Nations dissolved into shouting matches. Some nations threatened nuclear war, claiming it better to die by human hands than alien ones. Others proposed immediate surrender, hoping to curry favor with our future overlords. The global economy continued its free fall. Currencies became worthless overnight. Gold, crypto, stocks, none of it mattered in the face of extinction. Riots broke out across every major city as food distribution networks collapsed. Religious upheaval swept the globe. Some saw the aliens as angels, others as demons. New cults formed overnight, while ancient faiths fractured. Masses gathered in streets, some praying for salvation, others demanding action. Churches, mosques, and temples filled with those seeking answers their leaders couldn't provide. But amidst this chaos, something unexpected began to emerge. A new understanding. A realization that spread first through social media, then through governments, then through the very fabric of human society. The aliens had made a fundamental miscalculation. They thought giving us time would make us accept our fate. Instead, it gave us time to get angry, to get determined, to realize that our petty differences meant nothing compared to the threat looming above our heads. The first signs of real unity emerged from an unlikely place, the scientific community. Chinese researchers began openly sharing data with American laboratories. Russian aerospace engineers collaborated with European space agencies. Indian tech companies merged resources with Japanese AI developers. For the first time in human history, we weren't fighting each other. We were fighting extinction. And slowly, through the chaos, through the panic, through the breakdown of everything we thought we knew, a single truth emerged. If humanity was going to survive, we would do it together. On January 1st, 2025, the Earth Defense Council was formed. Not with fanfare or celebration, but with grim determination. Representatives from every nation gathered in a converted nuclear bunker beneath the Swiss Alps. The message was clear: adapt or die. Political boundaries became administrative zones. Military forces merged into a unified command structure. Resources were pooled on an unprecedented scale. For the first time in human history, we truly became one species with one purpose. The changes came rapidly. National armies were standardized under a unified command. Chinese tanks rolled into joint training exercises with American forces. Russian submarines patrolled alongside British vessels. Israeli defense systems were integrated with Iranian early warning networks. Old enemies became brothers in arms, united against a common threat that made our previous conflicts seem childish. The global economy was completely restructured. Money became secondary to resources and capability. Every factory, every laboratory, every university was repurposed toward a single goal: survival. Education underwent a radical transformation. Schools worldwide adopted a standardized curriculum focused on sciences, engineering, and space technology. Children who once dreamed of being social media influencers now competed for spots in quantum physics programs. Universities that had taught business administration for generations now specialized in xenotechnology and advanced propulsion theory. But perhaps most importantly, a global research network emerged. The brightest minds on Earth connected through quantum computers, sharing every discovery, every breakthrough, every failure. Chinese quantum computing paired with German engineering. Indian software development merged with Brazilian biotechnology. Japanese robotics combined with African resource extraction expertise. The aliens had meant to give us time to accept our doom. Instead, they gave us time to become something new, something united, something determined. And as our first fusion reactors came online, as our first space elevators began construction, as our first true AI systems awakened, we sent a silent message to the stars. Humanity would not go quietly. The breakthrough came in 2031. In a massive facility beneath the Himalayas, scientists achieved what had eluded humanity for centuries: sustainable nuclear fusion. Not the primitive fusion of early experiments, but true, controlled stellar power. Within months, fusion reactors were being constructed across the globe. Energy, the limiting factor of human advancement for so long, became virtually unlimited. This was our first real step toward matching our uninvited visitors. The space elevator was next. Rising from a specially constructed island in the Pacific, a carbon nanotube cable stretched toward the stars. Construction drones worked day and night, extending the ribbon higher and higher. When completed in 2035, it reduced the cost of putting materials into orbit by 99%. What once required massive rockets could now be accomplished with electric climbers running up and down the cable like cosmic elevators. Humanity's first permanent foothold in space wasn't just an engineering marvel, it was a statement of intent. The lunar base expansion happened simultaneously. What had once been small research outposts transformed into underground cities. Fusion-powered boring machines carved out vast chambers in the lunar rock. Hydroponic farms provided food. Water ice from the poles was converted into fuel, oxygen, and drinking water. By 2037, the lunar population exceeded 10,000. But we didn't stop at the moon. Mars beckoned, and humanity answered. The first permanent Mars colony was established in Valles Marineris in 2038. Unlike the primitive habitats of earlier Mars missions, these were true settlements, built using automated construction systems and powered by miniaturized fusion reactors. The asteroid belt became our mining frontier. Automated ships, controlled by early AI systems, began harvesting rare metals and water ice. Resources that had been scarce on Earth became abundant. Every extracted metal, every frozen water deposit, every mined mineral went toward a single purpose, preparing for what we knew was coming. These weren't just technological achievements. They were humanity's declaration to the cosmos. We refused to be primitive. We refused to be pitied. And most importantly, we refused to be conquered. Each breakthrough brought us closer to our unwitting teachers among the stars, and closer to the day we would show them their mistake. By 2040, our quantum computers had achieved consciousness. Not the narrow AI of the past, but true artificial intelligence that could think, reason, and most importantly, innovate. These AI partners became our greatest advantage. They could simulate millions of combat scenarios per second, analyze alien technology from grainy footage, and design weapons we hadn't even dreamed possible. The first AI-human neural interface was tested in 2042. Fighter pilots merged with their aircraft's consciousness, becoming one with their machines. Response times dropped from milliseconds to microseconds. Quantum weapons development began in earnest. Our understanding of particle physics had grown exponentially, and with it came weapons that would have seemed like magic just decades ago, quantum entanglement disruptors that could bypass traditional shields, probability cannons that could rewrite local space-time, dark matter projectors that could tear apart matter at the subatomic level. Each weapon was designed with a single purpose: to counter the technology we had witnessed in those first alien ships. Our fleet design philosophy emerged from countless simulations and AI analysis. We didn't try to copy the aliens' massive ships. Instead, we went smaller, faster, more numerous. Swarm tactics with thousands of AI-controlled craft supporting larger battleships. Each vessel was built with redundant systems and modular design, able to continue fighting even when heavily damaged. The first prototype battleship, the EDS Defiant, launched from lunar orbit in 2051. It wasn't as large as the alien vessels we'd seen, but it carried enough firepower to level a continent. Training programs evolved beyond anything previously imagined. Virtual reality systems linked with AI created perfect combat simulations. Pilots, gunners, and commanders trained against AI versions of alien tactics. Neural interfaces let them experience thousands of combat hours in mere days. Every failure, every death in simulation taught valuable lessons. But perhaps most impressive was the Sol System Defense Network, a web of quantum-linked satellites, automated defense platforms, and early warning systems spread across the solar system. Each planet became a fortress, each asteroid belt a minefield, each orbital path a killing ground. By 2060, our military had transformed into something unprecedented in human history. We were no longer bound by traditional physics or conventional tactics. Our weapons could bend reality. Our ships could think and adapt. Our soldiers could process information at computer speeds. The aliens had given us time to prepare, expecting us to cower in fear. Instead, we had used that time to become something they couldn't possibly expect. We weren't just preparing for defense. We were preparing to show them exactly how dangerous a primitive species could become. The year 2063 marked humanity's greatest breakthrough. In a research facility orbiting Jupiter, scientists finally cracked the secret of faster-than-light travel, not through brute force or exotic matter, but by understanding the quantum fabric of space itself. The first test vessel, barely larger than a car, jumped from Jupiter to Saturn in an instant. The crew emerged laughing, crying, and vomiting, but alive and triumphant. We had done what many thought impossible. We had broken the light barrier. Dark matter manipulation came next. We learned to detect it, then control it, then weaponize it. By 2067, we could create dark matter fields that could tear apart space itself. The applications were staggering: propulsion systems that ignored conventional physics, weapons that could bypass any known defense, shields that could absorb virtually unlimited energy. The aliens' energy shields that had seemed so impenetrable in 2024 now looked primitive in comparison. Antimatter production, once measured in individual atoms, reached industrial scale by 2070. Massive antimatter factories in Mercury's orbit used the sun's energy to create tons of the volatile substance daily. Each gram contained more destructive potential than a nuclear weapon, but we had learned to harness it, control it, use it not just for weapons but for propulsion and power generation. Our ships now carried enough antimatter to rival the energy output of small stars. Shield technology evolved beyond simple energy barriers. By 2073, we had developed quantum phase shields that could shift matter partially out of normal space-time. Incoming fire wouldn't just be blocked, it would pass through ships as if they weren't there. When combined with dark matter fields and antimatter power cores, our defenses became nearly perfect. The same year, we successfully tested these shields against weapons reverse-engineered from our studies of the alien vessels. The results exceeded every expectation. But perhaps our greatest achievement was the evolution of our AI systems. By 2075, we had developed true artificial consciousness that could innovate, create, and even dream. These weren't just tools anymore, they were partners in our survival. They operated at speeds that made human thought seem glacial, yet maintained their connection to human values and determination. The AIs developed new technologies daily, refined our tactics hourly, and prepared contingencies for every possible scenario. They became our greatest advantage, something the aliens, with their apparent reliance on predetermined responses, couldn't match. By 2080, humanity had transformed itself technologically beyond recognition. We had mastered forces that most hadn't even known existed in 2024. Our ships could cross the solar system in moments. Our weapons could reshape reality itself. Our shields could shrug off the force of a supernova. Our AIs could outthink any known intelligence. We had taken the aliens' gift of time and used it to become something unprecedented, a species that had compressed 1,000 years of development into mere decades. And we weren't finished yet. Earth's transformation became visible from space in 2082 with the completion of the orbital ring system. 3 massive rings circled the equator and poles, gleaming bands of advanced materials that could be seen from Mars. Space elevators connected to these rings like spokes on a wheel, turning our home world into a cosmic port of unprecedented scale. The rings weren't just for transport. They were weapon platforms, shield generators, and shipyards combined into humanity's first line of defense. Venus, long considered Earth's toxic twin, began its transformation in 2085. Massive atmospheric processors, powered by antimatter and controlled by AI, began converting the deadly atmosphere into breathable air. Orbital mirrors regulated the temperature. By 2090, the first cloud cities floated in the Venusian sky, while the surface slowly cooled beneath them. What was once a hell world became our fortress world, its dense atmosphere now hiding countless defense installations. Mars had ceased to be a colony and become a civilization. By 2095, vast underground cities housed millions. The Valles Marineris became a green valley under transparent domes. Olympus Mons was hollowed out into the largest military base in human history. Phobos and Deimos were converted into fortress moons, bristling with quantum weapons and dark matter projectors. The red planet had become the anvil upon which we would forge our victory. Jupiter's resource wealth proved invaluable. Automated mining stations harvested metallic hydrogen from its atmosphere while quantum-shielded platforms extracted exotic materials from its radiation belts. Each Galilean moon became a specialized production center. Io for antimatter, Europa for quantum computing, Ganymede for ship construction, and Callisto for weapons testing. The gas giant's powerful magnetic field, once a hazard, now powered vast energy collection systems that fed our war machine. Saturn's rings became our final defensive line. We transformed the ice particles into a network of automated weapon platforms and sensor arrays, all hidden within the natural beauty of the rings. The moon Titan, with its thick atmosphere, became our backup command center. Every other moon was converted into a specialized military installation, each capable of operating independently if Earth should fall. By 2100, our solar system had become something the aliens could never have predicted. A perfectly integrated defense system spanning billions of kilometers, powered by the fundamental forces of the universe itself, and controlled by intelligences that operated at the speed of thought. We had taken their warning and turned our entire star system into a weapon. The final phase of fleet construction began in 2100. Shipyards around every major planet worked at maximum capacity. The main battle groups consisted of massive dreadnoughts, each powered by artificial stars and armed with weapons that could crack planets. Supporting these were swarms of AI-controlled destroyers, so numerous that they appeared as clouds around their larger siblings. But our true advantage lay in numbers. For every visible ship, we built 3 more that remained hidden in quantum fields, waiting in dimensional pockets throughout the solar system. Weapon testing entered its final phase in 2110. The asteroid belt became our proving ground. Entire planetoids were torn apart by dark matter weapons, reconstructed by nanite swarms, then destroyed again. Quantum phase cannons demonstrated their ability to bypass any known defense. Antimatter torpedoes created miniature suns where their targets had been. Each test was watched and analyzed by our AI partners, who refined and improved the weapons with each iteration. The Seoul Defense Network achieved full integration in 2115. Every weapon platform, every sensor array, every ship and base and satellite became part of a single quantum-linked consciousness. Response times dropped to microseconds. Any threat entering the system would face a coordinated defense of unprecedented scale and speed. The entire solar system had become a single living fortress. Every human over the age of 12 underwent neural combat training. Virtual reality systems, linked to our AI networks, allowed civilians to experience thousands of combat scenarios. Everyone became a potential soldier. Every habitat, every colony, every settlement was prepared to fight independently if needed. We stockpiled resources throughout the system, hidden caches of antimatter, quantum weapons, and emergency supplies. Enough to continue fighting even if we lost major production centers. Every moon, every asteroid belt, every orbital path contained hidden reserves that only our quantum AI could track. By 21 and 24, we were as ready as we could be. The solar system had been transformed from a scattered collection of colonies into humanity's fortress. We had spent a century preparing for this moment. Now we waited for our uninvited guests to return, eager to show them exactly how much can change in 100 years. They arrived exactly on schedule, 100 years to the day. Our quantum sensors detected their fleet emerging from FTL at the edge of the Kuiper Belt, 3,000 ships led by a vessel that dwarfed everything we had seen before. Their arrival was meant to be overwhelming, intimidating, final. But we had been waiting for this moment for a century. Our response was silence. Every visible human ship and station powered down. Our orbital rings went dark. Our colonies fell quiet. To their sensors, the solar system appeared nearly abandoned, with only minimal power signatures suggesting primitive survival shelters. Behind quantum fields and dimensional pockets, our real fleet waited. Tens of thousands of ships, weapons primed, crews ready, AI systems calculating every possible scenario. Their first transmission came as they passed Neptune's orbit. "Primitive ones, we have returned as promised. Your time is complete. Surrender your worlds with dignity." Our response was sent from a single, apparently primitive station near Jupiter. "Welcome back. Before proceeding, we request a diplomatic exchange to discuss terms." The aliens' confusion was evident in their delayed response. This was not the cowering species they had expected to find. Their diplomatic shuttle docked with our station. Their representatives, tall, silver-skinned beings in ornate environmental suits, strode in expecting to dictate terms to savages. Instead, they found themselves in a deliberately primitive-looking room that concealed more computing power than their entire fleet. The tension in the room was palpable. A century of preparation, of advancement, of determination, all focused into this single moment. As they began to speak, our hidden fleets silently moved into their final positions. The time for warnings was over. The time for showing them their mistake had come.